Hey everybody, it's Herbert Broussard here. I'm here with my son Nazir Broussard, and I'm gonna teach him and I'm gonna teach you what racism is because for most of our lives we have been bamboozled and made to believe that racism is not lacking somebody when that's far from it. Racism is about control, it's about power. Racism is about a system put into place for races to compete. So let's look at it. If I don't like somebody who's missing a leg, that's not racism. That's a bias. If I don't like somebody for having a bald head, that's not racism. That's a bias. If I don't like somebody because of their skin color, or their ethnicity, or their gender, or their age, or their religion, that's not racism. That's a bias, right? So let's get into racism, and we're gonna show you what it is. Okay, so whenever we break down racism, you have the first word in there, which is race. What is a race, and what are we racing for? We racing for wealth, economics, and the control of resources, right? Let's go back. Race is a competition for wealth, economics, and resources. Race, Asian, race, black, race, white, race, Arab, right? Is these race groups competing for wealth, economics, and resources. That's why in your neighborhood you barely see black stores, but you see Asians move into your communities and open up a store. Arabs move in your community, open up a store, right? What are they doing that for? To control resources and to accumulate wealth. They're competing and they're beating you, right? They're beating you because we would rather stand on a corner and bang for the corner we don't own instead of competing with other races for wealth, economics, and the control of resources. Now, whenever you're looking at ism in racism, and by the way, racism is a collective effort, hence black people, Asian people, Arab, white, right? So whenever you're looking at ism is a form of system, right? Ism is a form of system like capitalism, communism, right? Racism. It's a system. Now, it's a collective effort to control the destiny of someone else's destiny. So, whenever you're looking at racism and you're looking at ism, which is a system, where do white people control the destiny of black people because black people do not have their own industries? Let's look at it. So they have systems. They have a housing system, right? They have a healthcare system. They have a jobs opportunity system, and they also have policies. These are all forms of system that a collective group are used as an instrument to control the destiny of another people, because one people do not have their own industries. They do not have a housing system. We as black people do not have a housing system. We don't have a healthcare system for our own people. We're dependent on someone else. So whenever that happens, racism, it happens, because I'm gonna look out for who is in my best interest, right? It's just like being a part of a gang. You're gonna look out for who's close to you. You're gonna look out for, the dude who's on the left and right side of you every day. It's just like cops. When cops kill unarmed black men in the streets, it's because the black people, we as black people do not have a system set into place. We don't have an economy base. And when you don't have an economy base, you can't buy or lease or rent politicians. And when you can't buy, lease, or rent politicians, you can't move into the court systems, and then the court system controls the police. And once you have an economic base, and once you have politicians in your back pocket, and once you have the courts in your pocket, the courts control the police. The police won't be killing you in the streets. They won't be running over you in the streets. They won't be harassing you in the streets because you have an economic base behind you. Why do they kill us? Why do they harass us? You know why? Because we're weak. We are a weak people. We don't have resources. We don't have wealth. We don't have an economic base in our community, or rather our neighborhood. So whenever people is trying to describe racism to you, and they say, "Oh, you don't like somebody, oh, that means you're racist." No, that's a bias. That's that's a bias. Racism is a system set into place for one race to conquer another race, right? Because whenever you race, let's say you and your friends go outside in y'all race, y'all start off together, but not everybody finish in the same place. That's like saying like, hey, look guys, we're gonna start off together and we're gonna cross the line together. No, because I want to be first and somebody else gonna be last. And black people, we have fallen into last. The reason being is because we don't have systems set into place to take care of our own people. We don't have housing systems. We can't house our own people. We don't have a healthcare system. We can't provide insurance coverage for our own people. We don't have industries to give our people opportunities, right? There's no, and that's another thing. There's no such thing as equal opportunity when you're in a race. Race, black, white, Latina, Arab, Asian. They're not looking, they're not trying to cross the line at the same time with you guys. It's all a competition, and we have fallen into last place because we didn't get the memo, and we have black leaders and politicians who are not breaking these systems down. They're not breaking these systems down. Anything that have like ism, communism, socialism, capitalism, right? That's all systems. Racism is a system, is a collective effort. You have been assigned to a team. So play as a team. The birds fly as a team. They fly as a team. There's a black team, a white team, a red team, a yellow team. Play for the team God sent you here for. Play for the team. Teach this to your kids so they know what racism is. So when they get older, they creating industries for their own people. And nothing is wrong with that. That's what racism is. That's what racism is about. And whenever you hear people say reverse racism, there is no such thing as reverse racism. What do black men and women own to control the destiny of white people? What do we control to control the destiny of white people as a collective? Not individuals, as a collective. They have housing system, healthcare, jobs and opportunities, policies. I mean, the list goes on. So it's time for us to build industries, start a business. That's the first thing we have to start. That's the first floor, an economy base. And once we build an economy base, we buy and lease politicians. So, they can carry out the agendas that we want and we need, right? And once you have politicians in your back pocket, then you buy the courts, because the courts control the police. You won't be getting shoot down in the streets. You won't be getting harassed. It won't be none of these biased policies. The reason that is because we are a weak people. They know the only thing we're gonna do is go out with signs saying Black Lives Matter. We're gonna march saying we shall overcome. You know why Martin Luther King died? Because he said we coming to Washington to pick up a check. It was about economics, and we have lost the memo, but it's time for us to regain that memo and understand that racism is a race. It's a competition. Who is going to control the resources? And whoever controls resources control the destiny of other people and their own destiny. But they only control the destiny of people who don't have an economic base. They don't control people who have an economic base. So that's why we have a lot of police brutality, is because we don't have any systems set into place to protect us. And that's why we got to start teaching our babies what the real racism is. So peace, teach this to your kids, and wake up. It's time we wake up. We are a weak community. We are a really weak and fragile community because we don't understand that everything is about economics in America. So, peace. Herbert Broussard here, and Nazir.